Welcome back to Kickoff Times, where we bring you the latest news and in-depth analysis from the world of football. Today's article delves into the recent developments at Manchester United, a club that's always buzzing with intriguing stories on and off the pitch. From high-profile transfers to strategic managerial decisions, every move significantly impacts the club's future. Join us as we explore what these changes could mean for the Red Devils in the upcoming season. Here we go again. Manchester United are keen to sign Lille wonderkid Leny Yoro, but they face stiff competition from Real Madrid. What happened? United are willing to table an offer worth nearly €60 million for the Lille star. Marco reports that Real Madrid are also in the hunt for the centre-back but want the 18-year-old to be patient ahead of a potential move to Spain. With United hoping to strengthen their defensive options over the summer, the Red Devils have made the 18-year-old one of their top targets ahead of next season. Madrid, though, is not ready to make the plunge with an offer just yet and have reached out to his agent to urge them not to accept an offer from Old Trafford. The draw of the European champions, compared to a team that has struggled to assert their dominance in England over the last decade, may have an impact on Yoro's decision. However, the youngster may have an easier time breaking into Erik ten Hag's team compared to Carlo Ancelotti's. So, what's next for Yoro? Yoro enjoyed a stellar campaign for Lille, finishing fourth in Ligue 1. He played 32 times in France's top flight and is now enjoying a well-deserved break. For Madrid and United, their recruitment plans will already be in full effect as they prepare for the 2024-25 campaign. Meanwhile, Manchester United chiefs, the Glazers and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, have been called out for taking an age to declare whether they plan to back or sack Erik ten Hag, amid claims an announcement on the Dutchman's future could finally arrive on Wednesday. It's now 11 days since Manchester United stunned Wembley and the watching world by pulling together arguably their best performance under ten Hag's reign to defeat Manchester City 2-1 in the FA Cup final to win their second trophy of his reign and also deny their noisy neighbours the double. But in the time that has followed, the silence has been deafening. Going into that game, ten Hag, whose future has been the subject of strong speculation for pretty much the entire season and certainly since their dismal Champions League campaign, would have been well aware of strong reports that emerged claiming he would be sacked regardless of how the cup final at Wembley panned out. And with our correspondent Fraser Gillen reporting back in March that many at Old Trafford felt ten Hag was a dead man walking, it only appeared a matter of when, not if, the axe would fall on the Dutchman's reign. The final nail in his coffin appeared to come down at Selhurst Park when a 4-0 trouncing against Crystal Palace only served to reinforce suggestions that United's players had simply stopped playing for him. Furthermore, their kamikaze tactics, which resulted in Liverpool managing a colossal 90 shots at their goal across 3 meetings this season, suggested the Dutchman's game plan was not suited to success in the Premier League. Yet, some 11 days after their cup final success, their second trophy in 2 seasons under ten Hag, the Dutchman is still waiting to learn his fate in the immediate aftermath of their Wembley triumph. Ten Hag called out Ratcliffe and company to let him leave and win trophies somewhere else if they did not want to continue with him at the United helm. Since then, there have been claims and counterclaims over what will happen next. Team Talk's understanding of the situation is that technical director Jason Wilcox, who had undergone a thorough audit of the Dutchman's suitability to continue, had recommended the removal of ten Hag as manager. However, their win at Wembley, which proved both that ten Hag can compete tactically against the best and that his players can show for him when called upon, has given Ratcliffe a major headache. As a result, the British billionaire continues to deliberate over his next move and what to do for the best. Quite simply, would a better squad of players and the removal of problematic elements in the United squad actually result in a major improvement again next season? While the club has sounded out a number of candidates, none of them have yet reached the stage where they are ready to offer those would-be managers the job. That situation is further complicated by the very fact that ten Hag remains in situ for now, a chicken and egg situation. However, amid all the conjecture, there is a belief that with ten Hag soon back from the holiday he went on in the immediate aftermath of the cup final victory, together with the transfer window due to open in just 9 days' time, a decision on ten Hag's future will be reached this week, and potentially as soon as Wednesday. And while it is still not clear if United plan to back or sack ten Hag, controversial pundit and YouTuber Mark Goldbridge, a well-known figure to United fans, has come out and strongly condemned both the Glazers and Ratcliffe for what he calls their weak handling of the situation. Taking aim at the owners, he has labelled the situation embarrassing, indecisive, unprofessional, disrespectful, and completely out of touch with what the majority of United fans want. He then went on to explain on the United stand, "It's really disrespectful to the fans and to the manager that is currently in place, whether you are Ten Hag in, like the majority, or Ten Hag out, like the minority. It matters not. Surely we are totally and utterly united by the fact that whether you want this manager to go or stay, it is bloody inefficient and embarrassing how we are taking so long to make a decision like this." Goldbridge then went on to compare United's dithering to clubs such as Crystal Palace and Watford, who act with far quicker efficiency and decisiveness when it comes to making a change at the top. Goldbridge also feels the Glazers are continuing to pull strings in the background, adding, "I mean, this is just cowardly. If they sack him in the next few days, I'll call them out for what they're weak. They should have done it before the FA Cup final if they were going to do it at all," suggesting Ten Hag deserves the right to stay. Goldbridge has urged Ratcliffe to stand by the Dutchman, concluding, "The vast majority of the fanbase wants to see what happens in year 3 under Ten Hag. We want to build on that. We want to get working on that." On the other side, Manchester United have announced their retained list following the conclusion of the 2023-24 season, confirming that Brandon Williams has joined Raphael Vinny and Anthony Martial in leaving the club. Charlie McNeil has also been released, bringing his time at Old Trafford to an end. He made his debut in September 2022. United have said discussions remain open with Tom Heaton, Johnny Evans, and Scola Shire over potential new deals. It adds that Omari Forson has formally been offered a new contract. Furthermore, Marcus Lawrence and Key Plumlee will leave the club, as will under-21s player coach Tom Huddleston. Meanwhile, United's first summer transfer could be easier to do by the end of this week. United's PSR position received a boost with their qualification for the Europa League, and although this remains a window in which sales will be required to supplement the budget, there are players within the squad who will leave, and funds should be easy enough to raise. It might be that United want to wait until after June 30th to make signings, with the substantial £50 million loss from 2020-21 set to fall off the PSR monitoring period from next month, but at the same time, they hold a stronger hand when it comes to negotiations with Everton if they need to sell this month. They have already been hit with 2 points deductions for breaching PSR, and with the takeover by 777 partners continuing to hit stumbling blocks, they might have to raise further funds to avoid the possibility of further sanctions. Jared Branway is probably the most sellable asset in Sean Dyche's squad, according to a report by ESPN. United are planning to hold talks with Jadon Sancho before making a decision on his future. Sancho's loan spell at Borussia Dortmund reached its conclusion last weekend following their 2-0 defeat to Real Madrid in the Champions League final. He had rejoined the club on loan in the January transfer window. His future is set to be a big talking point this summer, and it could all rest on Erik Ten Hag's future at the club. Sancho was frozen out by Ten Hag last September after accusing him of lying in a social media post. Elsewhere, Bruno Fernandes has been the subject of much speculation the last few days. Concerns over his future have swirled around the United captain, with reports in Portugal that his agent has held talks with Bayern Munich over a possible move this summer. The 29-year-old has 2 years left on his contract and is also keen to extend it with a salary hike that would make him among United's top earners, but while the club is in a state of flux with no manager decision and transfer chiefs willing to listen to offers for all players bar 4, Fernandes's future remains uncertain. However, he put the speculation behind him last night as he stepped off the bench in the second half to fire a brace in Portugal's 4-2 win over Finland. The game was part of their warm-up campaign ahead of Euro 2024, with Bruno's 2 goals adding to a strike by Manchester City defender Ruben Diaz and one from Diogo Jota of Liverpool. T-Orki scored both of Finland's goals. On the other side, Manchester United will need to utilise all assets to maximise their pulling power this summer after a record-low Premier League finish. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's call on Erik Ten Hag's job will play a huge role in the transfer market, not least in regards to Jadon Sancho. The Champions League finalist is still at odds with the United coach, having fallen out over comments on training levels. Borussia Dortmund is said to be interested in a permanent switch for the 24-year-old following an encouraging loan spell, while a return to United seems off the cards if Ten Hag remains at the helm. The likes of Antony and Marcus Rashford both disappointed this season, leading to suggestions that United could look at bringing in a new attacker. Michael Olise has been one player frequently linked to Old Trafford despite suffering 2 hamstring setbacks. The Frenchman had been in fine form when on the pitch, by registering 10 goals and 6 assists in 19 games. Allies has been selected to represent his country at the Olympics. As a result, Palace are expected to hold out for a sizable fee for their asset amid heightened interest. United cannot offer Allies Champions League football next season, so Ratcliffe might have to draw on a secret weapon. The Ineos chief has often been snapped sitting with or near Sir Alex Ferguson at Old Trafford as the rebuilding job continues. Sir Alex is also a close ally of Crystal Palace sporting director Dougie Freedman, having been his neighbour at one point. The two Glaswegians were photographed leaving a restaurant over the weekend, their friendship still clearly strong. Ratcliffe may wish to utilise this link if United do indeed sanction a pursuit of Allies. Freedman, at one stage, had been connected with the sporting director role at United until it was decided that Newcastle chief Dan Ashworth, still on gardening leave, was to be targeted. The former Palace and Leeds striker has been credited for scouting Allies, Erie EAS, and Mark Gouy at Selhurst Park, with all three now linked with big money moves to Big Six clubs. While he will not be plying his trade at Old Trafford anytime soon, he can still play a role in United's transfer activity. He will almost certainly play hardball over any approach, but perhaps his friendship with Sir Alex will soften his stance if indeed Ratcliffe opts to take this route. It's far from a surefire way of securing a transfer, but it certainly gives United the advantage they need in the race for Allies. With a series of complex developments from the transfer market to internal decision-making, Manchester United stands at a crossroads facing a season full of challenges and opportunities. Will they leverage these opportunities to reclaim their status, or continue to struggle with the instabilities of recent seasons? We will keep you updated with the latest information on Manchester United and other clubs. Thank you for reading today's article on Kickoff Times. We look forward to bringing you more lively football news and commentary in our upcoming posts.